everyone, welcome back. Or if you're just joining, my name is Maya and welcome to my channel, Cranley Place, where I'm posting content on scarf style, knot tutorials, and more. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to be notified of new videos, which I'm publishing weekly. It's been a busy season so far with all the new, colorful spring-summer scarf designs from Hermès, but it's also that time of the year when we are eagerly awaiting rollout of the fall-winter scarf collection. In this video, I'll share what I've learned so far about some of the upcoming designs and artists behind them. Note that none of these designs are yet available on any of the Hermès sites that I've seen, but you can find hints of them if you look closely at some of the newer scarf ring mod shots. Let's take a look. This one translates to On My Cloud and is by Dimitri Rybaltchenko. If you follow my channel, you've heard me mention this artist many times. He is a third-generation Hermès artisan whose father is Vladimir Rybaltchenko and great-uncle Philippe le Deux. When I first saw this design, I have to say that Dimitri R was not my first suspect on the list. I've been following his Hermès designs for a long time and don't think I've ever seen anything like this from him. At any rate, it is full of fanciful details, like the butterfly fish, the teacup balloon, the winged high tops, a clear reference to Hermès' messenger of the gods, the stork delivering a baby cloud, the scarf-wearing giraffes peeking out of what might be windows of the 24 Faubourg building. And what about the bunnies overlooking their carrot garden and penguins sliding into the waves? There's a ballerina, a cellist, and a rower with a fishbowl head. And let's not forget the rider with the flags, which is actually atop the 24 Faubourg building right by the rooftop garden. This is such a dramatic colorway. Let's see what others will be available. This scarf is by Katie Scott, a self-taught London-based illustrator and relative newcomer to the house, with her first Hermès scarf called Index Palmarum, issued in 2019, an Index, I can't even pronounce this word, the Bromelia design from the spring-summer 2022 season. Lanterne, ballons, et cocardes, or lanterns, balloons, and cockades, is a charming animal-filled celebration of these intensely graphic shapes. The lanterns and balloons most people are familiar with, and a cockade is an ornament, such as a rosette, that's usually worn on a hat as a badge. Looking at this scarf, Scott's style is apparent. She herself describes it as, quote, like a botanical textbook that you shouldn't take too seriously, end quote. This is such a fun design, and I love all the shapes and colors. This is definitely one to keep an eye out for in my book. This scarf is by Carine Brancowitz, a relatively new Hermès artist who brought us Carré Rendezvous chez Hermès, a beautiful 70cm silk twill scarf from the fall-winter 2021 season. She is a French artist, reportedly dividing her time between Rome and Paris, and studied illustration, screen printing, and lithography before starting out in a fashion studio and establishing her identity as an artist with Biro, paint, and China markers. Her distinct, hand-drawn, slightly surreal style swings between captivating details and intricate patterns, simultaneously being both multifaceted and simplistic. With this design, at first glance, Brancowitz was not my first guess either, but looking at it now, you can see some of the stylistic similarities to her first scarf design, and certainly we know she likes Dalmatians, which appeared in both Carré Rendezvous chez Hermès and this one. I love everything about this design and really cannot wait to see it in person. Here is an intriguing new double-faced scarf design by Baptiste Virot, a French artist who likens his work to, quote, an iron punch in a velvet glove, end quote. Describing himself as a very impatient person, he compares his drawing style to the illustrative mode pioneered by Hergé, the creator of The Adventures of Tintin. It's fascinating to look at his comic strip style work, which of course comes through quite clearly in this design, Hermès Factory, with its bold colors and striking graphic style. We can see tribute to Hermès throughout this design, from the city skyline to the equestrian paraphernalia, and of course, the flag-waving rider atop the 24 Faubourg building. This is a stunning feast for the eyes, and the fact that it's double-faced makes it twice as compelling. Here, French animal artist Robert Dallet's Les Mustangs design has been reimagined Space Derby style by Ugo Bienvenu, who's a French illustrator based in Paris. Fans will know Bienvenu's name from the WOW double-faced scarf design from last season, Space Derby, of course, and Hermès on the Beach from Spring-Summer 2022. Dallet's original design was issued in the early 1990s and again in 2007, proving itself a timeless classic for the house. With this fresh update, it's sure to be a winning combo. Now, this is another double-faced scarf, which features two very different color palettes on either side. Just based on this colorway, I don't know about you, but my wish list for the fall-winter season is growing longer. Geoff McFetridge is another newcomer to the House of Hermès. He's a Los Angeles-based Canadian artist with a very distinct style, which if you look at his artwork, is quite apparent in this homage to Gene Kelly. As an aside, if you don't know who Gene Kelly is, I implore you to stop this video now and go and find and watch the musical Singing in the Rain, which also stars Debbie Reynolds. That's Carrie Fisher's, aka Star Wars Princess Leia's mother, if that helps. Even if you don't like musicals, be patient. It's a classic, and you'll see why Gene Kelly is so fondly remembered by fans around the globe. But back to this scarf. I love the simplicity of its shapes and how the artist's style really shines through here. Look closely and you'll find letters spelling out Gene Kelly's name. Again, if you've seen any of Geoff McFetridge's artwork, this design is clearly his, celebrating the energy, athleticism, and charm that was Gene Kelly. Daiske Nomura fans will no doubt recognize his singular fingerprint on this one. He's been designing with the house since 2008 and has brought us such designs as C'est la Fête, or the skeleton scarf, Cheval Punk, Bingata, and more. The name of this scarf is stellarium, and as an aside, a stellarium is a three-dimensional map of the stars, typically centered on Earth. This design reprises his iconic skeleton rider and steed, and introduces a female skeleton rider as well. Also this time, it appears to be headed for the women's collection in what looks to be much lighter color options. His original C'est la Fête, as well as the double-faced version, were issued in some darker colorways as part of the men's silk collections. But if this is any example, I think we can expect to see some more vivid palettes with this design. This whimsical scarf comes from none other than Jonathan Burton, who brought us the equally charming 90cm Hermès story from the Spring-Summer 2022 season and the 70cm Hermès Tea Time. An English illustrator living in Bordeaux, France, he has become known for his aesthetic and conceptual edge that includes nods to the great American illustrators of the 20th century mixed with Victorian-era melancholic and humorous characters, but with an unexpected twist. Tied Up in Knots depicts these two multicolored flamingos hopelessly entwined, with one on roller skates and the other wearing spats. Look closely and you see that one is wearing not only a neck scarf, but a feather top hat, while the other wears a polka dot, bow tie, and a crown. It's hard not to be charmed by Burton's design. And I know I've said this before, but I have to mention again that Burton's agent calls himself Handsome Frank, which is awesome. I mean, how could you not at least smile about that? This 140 centimeter cashmere is by Italian artist Gianpaolo Pagni, who has brought us designs like Grand Théâtre Nouveau, Jeu des Omnibus Remix, Manufacture des Boucleries, and more. In his own words, quote, "Stamps are tools that allow me to draw and compose endlessly," end quote. And he uses these age-old printing implements to arrange punchy patterns. He goes on to explain, quote, "First, I create a personal graphic vocabulary made up of shapes, lines, and materials. Then these elements are turned into stamps," end quote. According to Benoit Pierre Henri, creative director of Hermès tableware, he says, quote, "Gianpaolo has an aesthetic vocabulary which combines both very graphic and colorful forms mixed with fragments of old engravings," end quote. His aesthetic point of view is clear in this design, in which he's layered these colorful reinterpretations of floral patterns, stamp style, atop more realistic plant illustrations, and all of which is then superimposed on a written botanical index. This 140 centimeter design is by Aline Honoré, longtime Hermès artist and creator of many collectible scarf designs such as Coupon Indien, L'Art du Sarrasin, Bacheur des Samouraïs, which is one of my personal favorites, and more. The term quilt comes from the Latin quilcita, meaning stuffed sack, and has come to have two meanings, used as a noun, meaning the three-layer stitched bed covering, as well as a verb relating to the act of stitching the three layers to hold them together. The scarf is called American quilt, and it's interesting that the quilt, as we know it in America, was originally a strictly utilitarian article, born of the necessity of basically providing warm covers for beds. They were also used as hangings for doors and windows that weren't sealed well enough to keep out the cold. And in fact, the earliest American quilts made by English and Dutch settlers were so intimately connected to the everyday life of the early colonists that no record of them still exists. This design looks inspired by a medallion quilt pattern and includes echoes of patchwork and applique with this kaleidoscope of geometric shapes. I believe this one will be in cashmere. We will have to see. From the men's side of the house, this is a 100 centimeter scarf, again I believe in cashmere, by Evan Hecox, a multidisciplinary US-based artist and designer who draws inspiration from Japanese prints, European poster design, 1960s era illustration, Bauhaus typography, and folk art. I believe this may be his first design for the house. If you take note of the name, Jeu d'Arteresse, and look closely at the scarf, you'll discover that the seemingly random shapes and colors not only spell out Hermès, but the address of the flagship store, 24 Faubourg Saint-Honoré, Paris. Ever so playful and clever. Also from the men's side of the house, this is a 65 centimeter reprise of a classic Henri d'Origny design, Eperon d'Or. That design was originally issued in 1974 and inspired by the horse tack used by the Quatre Noirs master writers of France's prestigious Saumur writing school established in the 19th century. Eperon d'Or has been reissued multiple times by the house in various sizes and formats. In this rendition, it's been giving a striking modern color treatment. Based on the fringe, I'm guessing that this is cashmere as well, although I can't say I recall prior examples of cashmere in this size carré. Again, we'll have to see. And last, but certainly not least, is this 55 centimeter bandana design by Sophie Koechlin. She, too, is a longtime Hermès scarf artist with many collectible designs, such as Art Indien des Plaines, Boogie Woogie, Trésor Royal du Benin, and more. This bandana is shown here in 3 colorways so far and looks to be available also as possibly a doll twilly with a striped hem no less, and shown here with some interesting new twilly charm rings. So there you have it, a first look at some of the Fall/Winter 2022 scarves from Hermès. Please like the video if you enjoyed it and let me know what you think in the comments. In future episodes, I'll share other scarf reviews, knot tutorials, and more, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of new videos. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time.